Hey, joining me on the Kung Fu Driving podcast, I have some special guests today. One of the guests is running a little bit late, but right now we have Chris Romrell, one of the stunt coordinators for Terminal List Dark Wolf, which is an amazing series that's on Prime right now. Chris, thank you so much for hopping on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You did, Chris Romrell. Yes,
Chris,
sir.
awesome, awesome. Chris, congratulations on Terminal List. Tell me a little bit about some of the feedback that you're getting on the show right now. What are some of the buzzwords that you're hearing when people talk to you about what the show is like and how they're receiving it?
I'm actually working in Morocco right now on Terminal List Season 2. So
Nice.
I'm basically around the crew a lot. So we all like it a lot. Um, but I'm seeing the feedback online and stuff. And, I'm very grateful for all of the fans who love the expansion of the books. They're really digging the story. They're loving Taylor Kitsch and how he's portraying this character and adding new dimensionality to it.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad to see a lot of comments calling out the action. People really liking the action. And I'm like, I feel like a proud dad.
Well, you should be proud. The action is part of what makes this show feel so intense. Like some of the things that I get from watching the show, it's intense, it's dark, it's gritty, it's gripping, yeah, but it's it feels heavy, it feels claustrophobic at times, and that's a direct result of some of the things that you guys tried to do with the action. I mean, we're in close quarters a lot with some of the things going on. What was the thinking going into this series in terms of designing that whole language of movement that was going to be part of Dark Wolf?
Yeah, we have one guiding principle, and that's all throughout the show. Every crew member, we're all about authenticity. You'll hear Chris talk about that. You'll hear Taylor, our showrunner, and you hear it on set all the time. And we have a kind of a BS meter. As we're going through things and we're setting up our action, and what's in the script can adapt and change to the location or to the circumstances or to the character, and we're constantly asking ourselves, is this how this would unfold in real life? We gotta push the story forward. But there's certain things that we bump on. We call it that we bump on it, right? Like, hey, why would I be doing this? Why would I be holding my gun this way? Why would I shoot this person instead of doing such and such, right? And so we're constantly having those conversations. And I think through that process of me and Tom working with the technical advisors and the SEALs that work on our show, constantly pinging things off of each other, we kind of come to what would this look like in real life, or as close to. We have a 20% Hollywood sauce that we add in, because it's still got to be a spectacle.
Thom Williams joining the chat. Tom, welcome back.
What's up, brother? How are you doing, man? I'm sorry about that. I was on a Zoom with my current director for a show I'm prepping, and we were both getting long-winded.
No worries, no worries. Worth the wait. It's good to see you again. I was
Yeah, good to see
asking,
you.
yeah, I was asking Chris just about some of the feedback that he's gotten on the show. Congratulations. I talked a little bit about some of the feelings that the show elicits when I'm watching it, and one of the things that I was talking to him about was that some of the things feel so claustrophobic because of the way that you guys design the action in close quarters sometimes. And then we were talking about how the approach, and he talked about the BS meter. So, Tom, while I got you, it's a military show. So, you'll see a lot of military guys reacting to things that they see on screen and going, we would never do that. There's no way that would happen. Did you guys take that into consideration when you were putting this all together? Because it had to feel so real and so grounded.
Yeah, I mean, as I'm sure Chris probably already said, it's got to pass the sniff test for the boys. Um, we have 25 veterans on the show in front of them behind the camera. It's written by veterans. 5 of the 7 episodes are written by vets. I literally just had a friend of mine who's still an operator. He just got back from overseas. He's watching the show. He sent me a text the other night. Literally, the first thing said "thank you,"
That's
and
cool.
it was like, bro. He goes, me and my homies were watching this. We fucking love it. This is badass. So they're way into it. My son is in ROTC for the Navy right now, and he's going to Auburn. Him and all of his friends are watching it over there and just loving it. So it makes me feel so good that this giant military community that we love is embracing the show and that we're doing them justice.
That's awesome. You guys talked about that 20% Hollywood. Where do you get to mix in that 20% Hollywood in a show that is as realistic and as gritty as Dark Wolf?
I think we find where the reality is, and then we find where we can push those boundaries to add to the spectacle. So uh, in episode 5, we have Taylor Kitsch's character, Ben Edwards, and Shona Ronalee's character, Eliza, busting through this hostel, killing a bunch of dudes and making their way out. In reality, would these people have a fighting chance, especially if only one of them has a gun of getting out of here? Maybe not, but that was one of the things that we really worked for weeks and weeks on trying to figure out, all right, how do they live in this scenario and how do we make this believable? So a lot of the stuff you see was coordinated along with our technical advisors. Jared Shaw helped with the hostel, and we just built it out that way. Start with reality, and then find where we can push it a little to make it a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, one of the things I love the most about the hostile sequence is Taylor's getting his ass handed to him for most of the sequence. He
Yeah.
really is. He's already banged up from the ambush and then getting shot in the back. So you get in there and he's on his heels already. And so a lot of it was choreographed with that intent. Fight from the bottom. You're not owning these dudes. You got to just get out of here. You got to do whatever you can. And I think, Chris and Jared were key on that one, and they were really so good about finding a purpose in each room. And some of these big dudes are working Taylor over, and the only solution is Rona Lee catching a bead and shooting them. So I think it was pretty believable.
That's cool. Speaking of that choreography, both of you guys have stunt performer backgrounds, and now you're in charge of all of these talented stunt people, and then dealing with the actors as well. Were the actors eager to hop in there and get messy and get dirty? Did you have to deal with kind of reining them in and saying, guys, we know you probably could do it, but let the pros handle it.
Well, that's the great thing about it is they were all game. And yeah, there were a couple times we had to let's not do that. We don't want to damage you. This is the moneymaker for you on film. But the good thing about it is for all these and this is rare in TV. I think I remember talking to you about this last time with another show. We don't usually get rehearsal time.
Right, right.
And Chris and I worked so hard with our first AD and our producers to figure out times to work in to get the actors in there for everything. And they busted their asses to rehearse, and whether it was tactical or fights, for the tall Klaus fight, I had Shiraz was actually at a wedding for her sister, and she flew back earlier than she intended to come rehearse.
That's commitment.
Yeah, I had her for almost a week. Her and Ethan Suplee in there for like a week, and I'd say a good 95% of that fight is those two. Them and I doubled Ethan for the fight too, because that's
Right.
one of my old actors. But they were rolling around, beating the crap out of each other. I'd jump in with Shiraz or Judith, who doubled her, would jump in with Ethan. We'd tag team in and out. It was a true collaborative mix.
Speaking of that as well, rehearsal. You guys opted to do your rehearsals right there on set as opposed to rehearsing in studios and gyms. Is that right?
Yeah, it was very important to the authenticity piece. I think the environment plays such a massive role in creating an action sequence that, and we had the support of all of our producers and all of the other departments in coordinating with trying to figure out as early as possible where we were going to shoot, what that looks like, so that we could build out these action set pieces with the environment in mind. Because a lot of times what happens on these shows is that what we do in rehearsal may or may not translate to what we actually film on the day, because it's got to adapt to the space. So it was very important to us to try to do as much of it as possible in the space. And when we couldn't do that, we got as much information about what the space was going to be as possible. You know, maybe we didn't own the space, as they say, for a while. So we would build a space. We had a parking lot that we did a lot of this training in.
And the locations too. You guys were literally all over the world with
Yeah.
this, right? How much ground did you actually cover with filming the series?
Oh man, we started in Los Angeles, so we're out there between prep and shooting. We're in LA for about a month, and then headed over to Budapest, did the bridge sequence, and then we went to Croatia for a week, which was just, God, place is gorgeous. So is
Wow, nice.
Budapest. I mean, it was so wonderful. And then back to Budapest for the rest of it, and we were all over Hungary. We tore that place up and had so much fun.
It looks it. It looks it. The again, going back to the military realism. When you're doing a show that has guns and soldiers and the environments and all that, it's easy to fall into some of the regular traps that you see in these types of shows or films. What were some of the things that you guys wanted to avoid as stunt coordinators when you were putting the action together, so that you were not falling into the same run-of-the-mill stuff that other shows did or other films did?
Go for it, Chris.
I think it's very easy as a stunt coordinator or as a fight coordinator to fall back on things that you've done before or movies that you've worked on. I mean, I think that in the stunt industry, there's kind of this there's trends, right? Like John Wick action style is a huge trend, and you kind of see it being mimicked over and over and over again. And it's special because John Wick pioneered that, right? The dudes at 8711 and Chad Zdarsky, those guys fucking they built it that way. And so we wanted to do that for our show. We wanted something that was authentic, and so it was oftentimes my first instinct. I'd question it. I'm like, my first instinct's probably wrong. How do we discover something new here?
Yeah, it was a lot of trial and error. Chris and I just getting together and talking about stuff, and then getting together with Jared and Max, our two executive producer, writer, former military guys, and really just going over everything with them. Because again, we want to service the servicemen and women and make sure that it's believable and realistic. You know, my wife watched the episode with me the other night, the latest one, and it horrified her because it was so real. She's used to this fantastical, all the movie stuff, and there was a couple times she's like, she'd get up, walk out, come back in. She's like, it's
Yeah.
just too much. She goes, this is actually kind of terrifying because it feels realistic.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, I want to call out the Tau Klaus fight that Tom ran point on for just that. I mean, you got this big German dude who's untrained but physically imposing, and then you have Tal, who is new to all this. And how do you get her to win this fight in a way that feels believable? Like she's on her heels that whole time, and that's a really difficult thing to choreograph and make look good. So shout out to Tom and Max for running point on that.
That's awesome. Let's touch on that because you guys have backgrounds in the superhero world. So completely different from that realistic, gritty military stuff. So how did you guys get brought onto Dark Wolf? And what was it about your work that made the team confident to put the action in your hands?
Well, mine's a fun story that also involves Chris. I was put up for this originally from a friend of mine named Clay Fontenot, big time stunt guy, doubles Denzel Washington. So he's really tight with Antoine Fuqua's group.
Cool.
So Kat Samek, one of our executive producers, reached out to me and brought me in for the interview. And Chris and I live close to each other. We see each other a lot. We're at the gym, and I was like, "Hey, I think I'm going to get an interview for Terminal List." He's like, "What? Really?" And then, God bless you, Chris worked his butt off putting in good words, and he was actually on the Zoom for my interview, and I'm assuming said more good words afterwards. And about a week
It
later,
really wasn't hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, it was less than a week that I got the phone call saying I got the job, and then they were like, in about 2 days, can you be in Budapest to scout? And I was like, hell yeah, I can. Have passport, we'll travel. But
Yeah.
Chris has been involved since the first one. I'm sure he can tell you
Yeah.
about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
please.
and Thom was an easy choice with with his history of working on shows like Punisher and stuff. Like he's used to building out these gritty fights that feel grounded and realistic. And I've been doubling Chris Pratt since 2017. So I worked on the first season of Terminal List, where I choreographed and helped to build a lot of the fights in much the same way that we did on Dark Wolf. And we just kind of defined what our vision was for the show. Our action team, Ray Mendoza, Jared Shaw, Max Adams. We kind of figured out what we wanted to see in this world in terms of action. And so when Dark Wolf came around, I was asked to coordinate, along with Thom, to basically help continue that and to further refine that.
Cool. You talked about the all the locations that you covered. With all of those locations comes a whole bunch of talented people, talented stunt people that you have to work with. What was it like trying to corral that large of an international group of professionals?
Honestly, such a fun experience. You get so used to your usual batch of people you pull from, and it's a little terrifying when you go into a new place like that. You're just like, oh my god, I hope I find the right people. I have a bunch of friends in the UK who were coordinators, so the first thing I did was reach out to Gary Powell, George Cottle, guys like that. And I'm like, hey, I need some people, and Chris and I were looking for folks all over. We had UK, Spain, France, obviously lots of Hungarian people, and it was honestly just such an amazing experience because they all balled out. They did a fantastic job. There are genuinely people over there that I want to bring over here because they were so good to work with. And when you're on a long run like that, especially in a different country, a huge part of the equation is people you're going to gel with and people you want to see outside of work because you become a family over there and you don't want to be stuck in your apartment. You want to go out and hang out. So
Yeah.
super talented and really fucking cool and easy to get along with. And it was honestly one of the funnest stunt teams I've ever been a part of.
Were there any barriers that you had to overcome with all of that? Any language barriers or any procedure barriers or things like that that you had to be like, guys, we got to adapt and overcome.
Yeah, lots of language stuff. I mean, like I said, French and Spanish and Hungarian. Thankfully, our assistant spoke 6 languages.
Oh, that's
And
helpful.
then, yeah, and then also a couple of the Hungarian ADs, same thing. You get in that part of Europe and they know literally usually 6 to 8 languages. So all the romance languages, you know one, you can generally start to pick up another one. I know enough Spanish to kind of get by. So the Spanish people, they were making fun of my horrible translations, but I could understand a little bit. And it was fun trying to learn some Hungarian, which is one of the most difficult languages I've ever tried to speak. But I'd say logistically, that was the biggest thing because there were points where we'd have to sit there for a few minutes and just let all the translations make the rounds.
Did you learn anything new or experience anything new in terms of the way that the rest of the world views action design or anything like that? Like, did you see something you're like, we should incorporate more of that kind of stuff?
Hmm. What do you think, Chris?
I think uh I think what we were doing is new enough. At least our approach to it was new enough that what I felt was that we were actually training very talented stunt people who are used to kind of the traditional way that uh, action is done on film. We were really trying to work with them to scale it back. What does it actually look like when somebody gets shot?
Yeah, nice.
How do you do realistic reactions? So in fact, we had to scale down a lot, and I felt bad for some of our stunt guys who were incredible performers, could do all this gnarly stuff, and we're like, actually, can you just tone that down?
Just drop dead.
Yeah, just drop. You just drop just a sack of shit.
Yeah.
Now we're only into the fifth episode. Have you guys come to some of your favorite moments from the show yet, or is that still to come? And then I guess separately, are there moments that didn't make it to the show that you are holding for the next season?
From our stuff, I'm pretty sure pretty much everything was in.
Nice.
And yeah, episode 5 is definitely one of my favorites. I'm not going to spoil anything, but 6 is awesome, and 7 ends on a banger. So yeah. I'm very much looking forward to we've seen rough cuts, early stuff, so I'm really looking forward to the fine-tuned finished product. But yeah, I think 5 was a nice little peak, and then we're gonna go here, and then lots of boom at the end.
So you're working on season 2 already. Are you guys coming back for the full run of season 2?
I'm not on this.
Yes, sir. We're actually
Chris is out there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, we're wrapping in about 7 days. But yeah.
Of the not of Dark Wolf though. This is the flagship, the main.
Oh,
show.
Dark Wolf, man. Yeah. Well.
Dark Wolf is hopefully we get picked up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking about season 2 of Dark Wolf soon. But yeah, Chris is out on True Believer of the.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't even know if there's a season 2 yet, just yet.
When it happens,
nice.
Yeah, definitely gonna run it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So you got all of the action in place. You have all of the stunt people in place. What do you want audiences to take away most from what you guys have put down for Dark Wolf?
I want people to be excited about the unique action that's in it, and how kinetic and how exciting it is, and more importantly, that it's character driven. All the action sequences have a purpose. It's written into the choreography, and Chris and I are both very proud of that. There's no fights just to have fights or people dying in random. It's all to get from A to B in a very cohesive, well-written way.
In fact, we cut choreo that didn't seem to fit the character or the story or the moment. We were very judicious with how we kind of dealt those things out.
That's cool. Thom, you have 2 Emmy nominations under your belt. What do you think? Any early projections for what Dark Wolf can do?
I'm going for the first win. I think Chris and I are going to take some trophies next year.
Let's go.
That's what I'm looking for.
Guys, it's really an incredible show. It's great to be immersed in that world, and like I said, you feel kind of wrapped up and sort of kind of caught in a chokehold when you're watching some of it. So well done, and congratulations on all of that. Best of luck on the series. I hope there's a season 2. I hope you guys come back, and I hope you guys keep rocking it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, and Thom, the last time that we talked, we shared a heavy burden to Roy. All right, have a good one. Best of luck,
dude. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that.
All right.
Poison Clan rocks the world.